And it starts with a lady named Naomi. Naomi had married a man from a different country, and she'd gone to live in his country with his people, and she made a home there. It was great. She had a family, she had 2 boys, they grew up and got married. But then really sadly, not only did Naomi's husband die, but her 2 sons died too. So Naomi was there with 2 daughter-in-laws. And she was in this foreign land. She'd lived there a long time, but it wasn't her land, it wasn't her people. And in those days, when a woman was on her own, she was very much on her own. She relied on her extended family to look out for her. But because she was in a foreign country, she didn't have extended family around her. She just had her daughter-in-laws. So she thought, what I really need to do is I need to go back to the country that I came from. I need to go back where all my extended family are, because I'll have cousins and, aunts and uncles. All these people would still be there, and I'll be looked after. So she went to her daughter-in-laws, and she told them what she was planning to do. And she expected them to say, well, that's fine, Mum, if they called her Mum. I used to call my mother-in-law Mum. That's fine, Mum, hope you have a good rest of your life, and off you go. But that didn't happen. Because what happened was one of her daughter-in-laws, who was called Ruth, she said, no, I'll come with you. She went, are you sure? But why would you want to come with me? This is your home, this is your family, you've got a mother and father, and you'll be looked after. She couldn't understand why Ruth would want to come with her. Because if she stayed where she was, she had a chance of building a new life. She could have remarried, she had all her family around her. She would have had a good time. Naomi thought she ought to go on her own, but no, Ruth said, no, I'm coming with you. She said, I am going with you. From now on, your people will be my people, and your God will be my God. So Ruth and Naomi set off. She was determined she was going because she really cared for her mother-in-law. She gave everything up to follow her. Not many people would do that. Don't know that I would have done that with my mother-in-law, much as I loved her. So off they went. And they went back to where Naomi had come from. And she met up with her relatives, and it was great, and they was welcomed home, and it was just brilliant. She was with her people again. She hadn't been with them for such a long time. It was brilliant. But Ruth thought, well, I'd better go and look for some work. I need a job here. So she went out. Because she was now a foreign woman in a foreign country, finding a job wasn't going to be easy. So what she did is that she went out into the fields where the workers had been working and harvesting. And she walked into the fields, and she walked a little way behind them, so she, didn't trample on anything. But she just sort of stayed in the background a bit. But as the workers were clearing the field, she would just go along behind them and pick up the odd bits of barley that they'd missed. And she'd pick them up and put them in a bag, and she'd pick them up just before the birds got to peck them all up. Now, the fields that she was doing this in, they were owned by a man called Boaz. And his workers told him about this woman that was following them and picking up the grain from it was called gleaning. And there was quite a few people who had to do it if they didn't have any food. This is what they did. This woman that was gleaning. And they went to Boaz and they said, this woman is doing this. And they told him all about her. They found out about her story and they told him. Now, he watched Ruth for a bit, and he thought, yes, she's obviously a very loyal woman to come all this way with her mother-in-law. She's very loyal. She's also quite courageous, isn't she, really, to do that, to come to a foreign land. And he, quite liked the look of her. In fact, I think he took a shine to her. Yeah. Certainly liked what he heard about her. And I think in today's parlance we might say he quite fancied her. Anyway, so Boaz said to his workers, when you're harvesting, just drop a little bit more than you would normally drop on the floor. just, leave a little bit so that as Ruth's clearing the ground, she's getting a little bit more. And look out for her. Be kind to her and don't let anybody hurt her. Make sure that she's all right. And then he went up to Ruth, Boaz. He went up to Ruth and he said, I've been told what you've done for your mother-in-law. How loyal you've been. And I just think, after the death of your husband, to come with your mother-in-law is an amazing thing for you to do. To come to a land where you don't know anybody, but you're so loyal to your mother-in-law and you're so courageous to do that. It's a really big thing. May the Lord repay you for what you've done. Well, Ruth was really pleased because she went home with a bag full of barley that night, and she went into Naomi and showed her what she got. She was really pleased about it all, and Naomi was so grateful. It was just fantastic. And then Naomi said to Ruth, well, whose fields have you been going in? Because, this isn't just the scraps, this is quite a good amount of barley. Whose fields have you been in? So Ruth told her, I've been in a man called Boaz's field. Well, Naomi was really pleased because Boaz was not only somebody that she knew, he was also a relative of Naomi. So Naomi knew he was a good man. She knew about him. So she was really pleased. So Naomi turned from mother-in-law to matchmaker. She said to Ruth, okay, this is what we're going to do. You put on your best dress, put a little perfume, in the right places, and you go down and you meet with Boaz tonight. You could say that Naomi set her up with Boaz. She got them together. And Boaz and Ruth ended up married. There's a bit of a story that goes on in the middle of that, but you can read all of that, how they finally got together. But let's just say Naomi played matchmaker. She got them together. And they married. And Ruth was just delighted. This was just great. And Naomi was so thrilled for them. Ruth's loyalty and her courage had been rewarded. She had a new home. She had a husband. She probably had wealth, because I don't think Boaz was, too badly off. And in time, she had a family of her own. She had a son, her first son. The first one they called Obed. And then Obed, when he grew up, he had a son who was called Jesse. And then when he grew up, he had a son called David. And we all know about David. Remember David and Goliath? The little boy had to meet up against this giant. That, going down the generations, was what came out of Ruth's marriage to Boaz. So apart from understanding a great family tree, as an aside, my daughter-in-law's just doing our family tree. It's very interesting. I recommend doing it. Very interesting facts you find out about parents and grandparents and great-grandparents and it's great. Anyway, so apart from having this amazing family tree, much better than mine. Oh dear. Oh dear. So apart from the family tree that came from Ruth's marriage to Boaz, what else does God want us to take from this story of Ruth? Why is it there? What can we learn about anything from that story? Well, I believe God's showing us through this story that we choose to be loyal. We choose to be loyal. We choose to be loyal to others. It's not automatic. It's not it's not that you have to do it. You choose to be loyal. It's a choice. Ruth made a choice to be loyal to Naomi. So this story tells us that loyalty is a choice that we make. She didn't go with her mother-in-law out of duty or because she was forced to. She chose to be loyal. She willingly committed to be with her. to give up her own family, all her friends, everything that she knew, to be loyal to her mother-in-law. Even though it was a challenge, it was going to be difficult. Wasn't the easiest thing for her to do, but she knew it was the right thing. So God's showing us through this story that we choose to be loyal to others, even though it might be tough. And we can be loyal to God, even though it's a challenge and it can be tough. We choose to be committed to God, to do the things that he would have us do, even though sometimes it's not always the easiest option. Ruth showed courage going into an unknown, strange land to live with people she didn't know. Courage is being brave enough to do what you need to do the right thing, even if you're afraid.